Alright, welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So we're kind of working on, we want to be able to walk into a cabin and have it scene transition us into a new location, right? So that we can either go into a cabin or go into a cave and have it load a new scene. So we're working on trying to get a new map loading. So like, here's our current map. It's just one big overworld, and it clamps us to be inside the scene. Actually, I mean, I call the global, all of this, I call it the global map, and then every panel is what I call a scene. So there is a global map table, a 2D array holding different map instantiations, which I call scenes. So they might be scene objects instead of map objects. Now I'm thinking about it, but there's the global map and then there's the scene, right? So last stream we were trying to figure out the best way to kind of go about this, about potentially making a sister map but for the other world. And if we scene transition from a certain global map scene, we would give us coordinates to load the next map, which can work. But I think it makes just as much sense to just add the other world on the right side of this global map. And I say that because... Did Jimmy fall? Where did Jimmy go? Jimmy's got that look. Jimmy's got that look in her eye. Oh, go on, run. Okay. So yeah. Is Jimmy crawling? The reason I say I think it makes as much sense to just put the otherworld map on the overworld map is because we have a data downloader that takes our tiled file and reads the data so that it knows where to put the tile IDs into each scene object, into each square of our map. And that's how we're rendering the 3 layers, the ground level, the above ground level, and the top level tile that goes above our heads, above our players' heads. So if we were to make a different map, then we kind of have to run the same data downloader again. We'd have to recreate it because we don't have it as a function. And then we'd have to be able to say also swap between your map rendering things. If we're in a otherworld map, then render your otherworld map. If you're in a global map, then render your global map. So to me it just feels like we can just cut all that and just add it to the right side of this. We would have to think about, because right now we have like a clamp that is like, you know, if we walk too far to the right, we know we don't scene transition right if the column of the player is equal to the max map column, right? So like we can't scene transition right. So we'd have to add something where, like, actually I don't even think it's that bad. It's just that, yeah, I really don't think it's that bad. The thing that's kind of hard is, like, we can make sure, like, let's say, you know, this is a 10 by 10. So this would be a global map 2D array of 1, 10, right? 1, 10, would be here. And we can say if your column is equal to 10, meaning you're any one of these rightmost columns, then we can't trigger a right scene transition to go increment your current map to be one column more, because we're at the edge of the map, so we can't do that. So we already have that in place. So the only difference is if we walk into a cabin here and say, okay, well now current scene map and map row and map column is now a number over here in our other world, you know, just adjacent to our global map, then we're still good, because as long as we're not checking if the character's column, current scene column, is greater than the max row, but we're saying if it's equal to the max row, then don't transition, so that if we're here, we can still transition to a scene right in the other world if they happen to connect. And then same thing with from being here moving to the left, we would just give some new logic that says if, like right here, we have some logic that says if our character's current, or if our current scene's map row and column, if the column is equal to 1, then we cannot initiate a left transition because there's no map over there. So we would just say if our map column is equal to 1, or if it's equal to max map row or max map width plus 1. So if it's equal to this column or this column, don't allow us to go right, you know. And then up and down stays the same. If our row's 1, we can't go up. If our row's max map height, then we can't go down. So yeah, I think we can do this. I think we can add an other world per se. So we're gonna try that. And today I'm late to streaming. It's I'm taking some programming class, and I'm working full time, and it's just a lot to stream every night at 7. So I didn't think I was going to stream today, but I ended up doing it. I said I would do, any amount of time streaming is better than none. So here we are. Let's see if we can adjust this master tiled. I'm kind of tempted. Well, we've got it tracked in Git, so worst comes to worst, if we screw it up, we can just Git restore. So let's see if we can edit our maps size, like map properties here. Nope. Resize map. Here we go. Okay. So we've got a map of 100 tiles wide, 80 tiles high. So what if we just say, just give us twice as wide? I can't tell if that did anything. Okay, we might be in business. So let's add, for the other world, I'll add a border of snow just as our other world boundaries, so that we can just map it out, make sure it seems to be working, right? So yeah, it looks okay. Okay. For right now, it's just snow, whatever. But, and maybe we'll write, I don't know, like I don't know. I kind of want like a little coordinate system just so we can kind of dictate which one we're landing on. So it's like we'll just map out like the corresponding, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's okay. I mean, I guess we'll just trust it. We can we can debug a print on screen the current map and everything so that we can test certain stuff like this. So yeah, maybe we can just kind of give ourselves, yeah, maybe if we draw, I don't know, like I'm just, if we draw like a little like shape like this, we can kind of see where we're at in the global map of things, so that we can, if we get it working right, we can test putting our character at different indexes and see different screens and make sure that we're kind of on the right track here. You know, so any given spot we kind of spawn in at, we can kind of tell, okay, you know, we kind of know where in the square we are. So like if we go to 5-5, we should be right here, kind of close to the center, right? And then as we go up, we, you know, we can explore and kind of just make sure that the other world map is loading properly. So we've got this master tiled sheet, which now is going to have, the way this has it is when we save this, it'll save a .lua file, which is why we use the program, because Lua can read the Lua file so easily. And it's a data table inside the global map file. And here, let's just look at it. So let's we'll export as global map with other world. We'll call it that, just so we can maybe distinguish. But let's check it out. It should be right here. So look, let's open up this file. And all it is, all this export is a .lua with a couple of different things. So it's saying, okay, well, I know a tile set has a name of master sheet. We've got a tile width, a tile height. We've got a bunch of different settings here. What we're looking for is this, is the data. So we go into this global map with otherworld.lua, and then we go into the layers field, and inside the layers field we go inside the data table, and this is a one-dimensional table that has every single tile ID for everything we just drew. So our data downloader, what we call our data downloader, is going through all of these values, and it's laying them out within a 2D map array. So if we look at this, since it's now 200 tiles wide, every tile, 200 tiles wide, 80 tiles high. So basically the data table starts here and goes all the way to the right, and then the next row, and then all the way to the right, and the next row, all the way to the right. So our data downloader is taking each one of the tiles, it's looping through all the data and saying, okay, well, the first 8 frames were here on the first map 1-1. On the second 8 tiles were on the map 1-2. On the third map tile were, so it inserts them into the correct map objects or scene objects. I forget what I call them. And gives the tile ID into the table for the current map. So now that we changed how wide our global map is, and we call it global map with otherworld, we have to adjust our data downloader so that we are indexing into a bigger global map, because we just doubled our effective global map width. So it's gonna be a little bit of an effort to find this, but let's take a look at maybe our constants and see if we have anything about our global map width and everything, right? So we might have... We don't seem to have it. It might be in our map declarations. Yeah. So here it is, you know. So map is our table to hold all of the scene objects in the 2D array. Tiled map is a corresponding array of, I think, all the animatables. Our tiled map is where we save from the data downloader. Tiled is the application we use to export all the data. So here, overworld map width 10. So now that we doubled our width, this would be 20, and it's 20 map columns wide, each one of them. Yeah. Or there's in every scene there's 10 wide, 10 tile sizes wide of 16 by 16, 8 tile size high. But every scene, we went from having 10 scenes wide to 20 scenes wide. So that's the 20. We keep the same height of 10 for the map because we just lengthened our global map. And then here, the map width and map height, this is the 10 columns wide for each scene. This should probably be called scene height, scene width. And then here is all of our code to do this data downloader. So let's walk it through. We give ourselves, all we're doing is giving ourselves a 2D array of a map width and map height. So now we should have effectively twice as many first indices here. Or no. Yeah. Twice as many second 2D array indices. So, we still only have 10. If we go map 1, 1, that's the first row, first column. We have the same amount of rows, but we have twice as many columns because we doubled the width. And then we set a tiled map as an empty table, and this is where we're actually going through. This is what our data downloader is doing. It's taking our global map. That's the global map.lua. We need to define our global map as global map with other at this point. So right here we can say global map with other world. So we have global map with other world into the layers field, into the first index of the layers field in the data field of that first layer. And then we put in our tiled map at index k the value from that data field. Then we do something similar with the next layer for layer 2, and then something similar for the next layer, which is layer 3, which for right now we don't have anything in the other layers for the other world, but we still need it nonetheless because our code doesn't distinguish. Our code basically goes ahead and renders the stuff on top. But if it's not drawn, it's a nil value. So if it's a nil value, it just doesn't render anything. So we handle the nil value as a just skip it, don't render anything. If we were to try to willy-nilly just not populate this because we didn't have it, our code, at least in the data downloader, our code would crash because it's trying to index that nil value that we copied over from the data. So I think we're good there. We have, this is just the entity table declarations basically. So every map, which is now twice as big, now has an empty all of these tables inside of it. Okay, and then we have this. This is our map data downloader here. This is how we decide which index of our data table goes into which map object tile ID assignment. So every scene has 80 tile IDs, and the first 10 actually are the first row, second 10 are the next row, third 10 next row, So we have to basically do, this is kind of crazy because we took us a couple episodes to get this working, but we cycle through every single tile ID from our huge list of numbers I just showed you here. All of these numbers, even all these are 0 because there's no third tile, top level tile IDs being drawn, because those are very rare. They're only to be to render above the player when he walks under a cabin door or the like. That's what this line is cycling through every one of those. And then we count the scene column and the map column, how many rows we've inserted, and then we basically just modify these numbers so that we insert the correct tile ID into the correct map row and map column of our global map table, which should be now twice as big. So since we changed this overworld map width is now 20, we should be inserting them correctly, hopefully. So if we've got that now, I'm hoping, everything else should be okay, which is why I wanted to go this route instead of the other route, because I'm feeling like this should render okay. Because we kind of did it agnostic of how big the map size is. So let's see. We didn't crash, so that's good. Let's see if we can walk through to the other side and break on through. So it should still lock us out. This snow is not the snow of the other world. As soon as we get to a column of 10, it should not let us go any further right. Okay, so it should stop us here. Oh, it didn't stop us. But here's the other world. This is what we drew for the other world. Here's the squares that get smaller and smaller, closer. So this is close. We just need to make sure we clamp the other world. So the idea here is we can put, let's say in the other world, we can draw the inside of this cabin over here. And over here in the other world is inaccessible from the main map. So we have to lock our right transitions so that we can't just go to the overworld, but the other world. But if we change and manually assign our current map to be in the other world, then that's fine. It functions like a normal map would. It only prevents us from walking on this barrier here. It just prevents us from walking. So if we can get the prevention there, then we're money. So let's look for the shifting. I want to say it's called shifting, or it's called, begin shifting, right transition. That's what it is. Right transition. So look at this. If our column does not equal the overworld map width, which we just doubled, so we're going to say if it doesn't equal the map width divided by 2, because now we're trying to see if it doesn't equal 10. We want to prevent us from a right transition if our overworld map is equal to 10. But if it's not equal to 10, if it's higher than that, if our current map is on the other world, then we should transition scenes like normal. So let's see if that does it. But then same thing with here. If it doesn't equal 1, or excuse me, or if the column is equal to 11. Yeah. If our current map's column is equal to 11, that means we're in the other world and we're left as far as left as it goes, because you know, we don't want to go into the other world from our global map as much as we don't want to come to our global map from our other world, right? We want it to be blocked from both directions. So that might be it. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Then in scene 45, what did we mess up in scene 45? Oh, or. Okay. So let's just, while we're over here, you know, in our, on our left side, we're going to make sure we don't crash or, yeah, we should block ourselves from going left, which is good. And then by the time we get over to our right side, where our overworld map width, that is now 20, divided by 2 is 10. If our self.currentmap.column is equal to, not equal to 10, then we go ahead and right transition. If it is equal to 10, we don't right transition. We also need to catch the right transition from the rightmost. Okay, here it is. Okay, so we stopped ourselves. So that's good. Let's test. The thing is, this catches a right transition from the very right side, but also we want to say also or our self.currentmap.column, or if that column is not equal. Oh, this might be wrong. If the current doesn't equal 1, or the column. Okay, yeah, we'd want to check something inclusive here, because the or, we don't want the or to catch any random stuff. So we want to do or the column is equal to the overworld map width. But this is where we do want to enable a right transition. So I think we can say and for the inclusive and say and our column does not equal the overworld map width. So we would shift right only if our column is not the rightmost side of our global map, and our current column is also not equal to the rightmost side of our other world. I think that makes sense. Yeah. So let's see if we crash there. So far, so good. And we can spawn, you know, we can spawn closer to the right. I don't have to walk all this way, but... Where did Jimmy go? I'll get Jimmy back on. Hold on. Okay, we should get blocked right here. We shouldn't go. Cool. Okay, so we can test Otherworld now, which I have a decent feeling about it. So let's... What did I just do? Okay. Jimmy's barely visible. Okay. Let's test the Otherworld. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go to our player spawn. We're going to go to spawn here. Okay, we're going to put our player into the Otherworld. So instead of being at 2, let's put him at 12. Let's see, we should be in the Otherworld. Yes, we are. We're at 2. Okay, so we should block right here. See the edge right there? We should block. We screwed up the block. That's okay. Let's test out. Well, let's see why that went wrong. So, we only want to do a left transition. This needs to be and the current map column does not equal 11. Let's try that. I think that's it though. Okay, so we've got, here we go. Let's see. We should block us from going left. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Let's see if we block ourselves going right. This is cool. This is so much easier. Yeah, than trying to do what, you know, a couple episodes ago I went to try to make a class of another world or whatever, but it's like all the logic we need, which is just we need to be able to draw it in tiled. We need to be able to import it as tile IDs into specific maps. And then we just have to make sure the clamping is right, which it looks like we can't exit the other world and we can't traverse other world to global map. So this is really cool. Yeah, down should be fine and up should be fine too. Let's just check it. Then we could raid Salto Manga. Okay, we've got 3 more panels. Okay, and we're going to be testing walking up. And we cannot. I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's check one last thing. Let's make sure, since we fixed our left ability, let's just go back to our spawn. Oh, not what I wanted, not what I wanted. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're going to go back to our spawn. We're going to say go back to 7.2. We're going to check if left is still clamped for the left side of our global map, just to make sure we didn't screw that up. Okay, cool. And then let's check our rightmost side as well and make sure we still can't traverse into the other world. There's the border and we're stuck. That is great. That's wonderful. I did not think we'd get that far today, but that is awesome. So now we get to make a decision. I guess we just kill the old master tiled map, right? We have to kill the old global map. So we can call it global map with Otherworld, or we can call it just global map because Otherworld is part of the global. I don't know. I guess we can call it global map still. I don't think global map with Otherworld is a very compelling name, so it is twice as big, you know, it's 176 kilobytes, even though almost all of them are zeros, but it's whatever, 176 kilobytes. Because technically that's, even if we drew as complicated data as we wanted in that map, it would be that same file size because it's storing only zeros. So it's like that's as big as the file gets for having 200 screens in our game. That's not bad. So we'll just rename that to global map, and then we'll have to go back to our global map declaration, global map, and say this is now global map again. And then we'll test to make sure we don't crash. And then we'll commit and move on. Yeah, we don't crash. We're good. Okay. So we're going to say we added entire other world to global map with sophisticated clamping mechanisms. Sophisticated. All right, git commit and git push, and we call it a night. Thanks for watching. I've got class tomorrow, so I will not be streaming. Work, full-time work and class is just too much, with other life stuff going on. So Tuesdays and Thursdays I will not be streaming, but I'll do my best to stream the other nights like normal. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Or no, 2 days from now. 2 days from now. But thanks for watching.